Well, well, looks like we've got ourselves a proper political cage match. Andrea Jenkyns, the newly minted Reform UK firebrand and self-proclaimed mayor of Greater Lincolnshire. Yes, that apparently a thing now, has just launched a verbal cruise missile at Sadiq Khan with all the subtlety of a sledgehammer through a greenhouse window. She's claiming London has turned into some sort of dystopian nightmare where even seasoned politicians are afraid to walk the streets after dark. But here's the plot twist that'll make your head spin. Khan's fighting back with statistics that apparently show crime is actually falling, which has turned this into a battle royal between lived experience and government data. And before you ask, yes, this is the same Andrea Jenkyns who dramatically defected from the Tories to reform UK faster than you could say political opportunism, and now she's positioning herself as some sort of crime-fighting crusader. But buckle up, because this story gets wilder than a night out in Magaluf, complete with sledgehammer-wielding attackers, threatening messages, and enough political posturing to make a peacock feel inadequate. Now, let's dive into the meat of this political beef, shall we? Jenkyns has gone full scorched earth on Khan, claiming that people no longer feel safe in London and that it's all happened under his watch. She's basically painted the capital as some sort of urban hell's gate where law-abiding citizens cower in fear while criminals run rampant through the streets like extras from a Mad Max movie. But here's where it gets deliciously ironic. Jenkyns is making these claims while simultaneously admitting she's been the target of more threats than a witness protection program dropout. The woman has received 70 threatening messages in a single month, had her office vandalized with messages telling her to top herself, and watched helplessly as someone chased her campaign worker with a sledgehammer like something out of a horror movie. Yet somehow, none of this happened in London. It all went down in her own constituency. So let me get this straight. Jenkyns feels unsafe in London because of the general atmosphere, but she's actually being terrorized in her own backyard by people wielding construction equipment? That's like complaining about sharks while being attacked by piranhas in your own swimming pool. The timing of this attack is absolutely precious, because Khan had just released crime statistics showing knife crime down 19% and various other crimes falling across the board. It's like Jenkyns saw those numbers and thought, hold my pint, I'm about to destroy this man's whole argument with the power of anecdotal evidence. Khan's response was to essentially wave around his crime statistics like a proud parent showing off their child's school report. Robbery down, theft down, burglary down, knife crime down. According to his numbers, London is apparently turning into some sort of crime-free utopia where the biggest threat is stepping on a discarded Oyster card. But Jenkyns isn't having any of it, and she's deployed the nuclear option of political arguments, the dreaded ask real people defense. According to her, Khan is living in his bubble and needs to get out on the streets and talk to real people. Because apparently, official crime statistics are just elaborate fiction, and the only way to measure safety is through a combination of gut feeling and conversations with your mates down the pub. And here's where Jenkyns really turns up the heat. She's claiming that even she, a seasoned politician who should theoretically be tougher than a 2-pound steak, doesn't feel safe traveling through London at night after appearing on GB News. That's right. The woman who's been threatened with sledgehammers in her own constituency is apparently more worried about London's mean streets than her own local nutjobs. The whole thing reads like a masterclass in political theatre, with Jenkyns painting herself as some sort of fearless truth-teller who's brave enough to point out that the emperor has no clothes. Except in this case, the emperor is Sadiq Khan, and the clothes are apparently crime statistics that don't match people's feelings about safety. But let's talk about the elephant in the room, the Reform UK press conference on women's safety that conveniently coincided with Khan's crime statistics release. It's like watching two rival gangs having a turf war, except instead of switchblades, they're armed with PowerPoint presentations and carefully selected anecdotes. Jenkyns used his platform to deliver what can only be described as a greatest hits collection of her personal horror stories. We've got office vandalism, threatening messages, sledgehammer-wielding maniacs, and a justice system that apparently responds to attempted assault with all the severity of a strongly worded letter. It's like she's been living through her own personal crime wave while simultaneously criticizing London's crime rates. The most jaw-dropping revelation was that someone actually chased one of her campaign workers with a sledgehammer, and it was caught on film. Yet somehow, the cinematic evidence of attempted assault wasn't enough to secure prosecution. That's not just a failure of the justice system. That a collapse so complete it would make a demolished building feel structurally sound. And here's where Sarah Pochin enters stage left with immigration rhetoric so hardline it makes Nigel Farage look like a liberal bleeding heart. She's promising to deport every illegal immigrant that sets foot on our shores and track down people living in shared accommodation like some sort of immigration-themed game of hide-and-seek. It's deportation bingo, and everyone's a winner, except the people getting deported, obviously. Pochin's claims about Afghan immigrants having fundamentally different principles and hidden statistics being concealed from the public sound like they've been ripped straight from the populist politician's handbook. It's dog-whistle politics so loud it's practically audible to humans, wrapped up in concerns about women's safety that conveniently align with Reform UK's immigration agenda. But here's what's genuinely fascinating about this whole circus: the disconnect between perception and reality when it comes to crime statistics. Khan's numbers might be technically accurate, but if people don't feel safe, does it really matter what the spreadsheets say? It's like telling someone their house isn't actually on fire while they're choking on smoke. Jenkyns has tapped into something that goes beyond simple crime statistics, the feeling that Britain has fundamentally changed, and not necessarily for the better. When she says she doesn't believe children today live in the safe haven she grew up in, she's speaking to a sentiment that resonates far beyond Reform UK's core supporters. The problem is that both sides are essentially talking past each other. Khan's waving around his crime statistics like a magical talisman that should make everyone feel better, while Jenkyns is countering with personal anecdotes and gut feelings that can't be quantified in a spreadsheet. It's like watching a debate between a mathematician and a poet. They're using completely different languages to describe the same reality. What makes this even more surreal is that Jenkyns is essentially arguing that her personal experience of being threatened and harassed somehow qualifies her to judge London's safety levels. It's like a person who's been struck by lightning twice claiming to be an expert on weather patterns. Technically possible, but probably not the most reliable source. And let's not forget the delicious irony that this attack on London's safety is coming from someone who represents a constituency where people apparently roam the streets with sledgehammers like some sort of medieval weapons fair gone wrong. If that's what passes for safety in Greater Lincolnshire, maybe London's statistics don't look so bad after all. The whole spectacle feels like political theatre designed to generate headlines rather than solve actual problems. Jenkyns gets to position herself as a fearless truth-teller taking on the London establishment, while Khan gets to play the role of the data-driven technocrat being unfairly attacked by populist rhetoric. But here's the real kicker. While these two are having their statistical slap fight, actual Londoners are left to navigate the gap between official crime figures and their daily lived experience. Some might feel perfectly safe walking through the capital at night, while others might share Jenkyns' concerns about personal security. The truth, as always, is probably somewhere in the middle of this political food fight. London, like any major city, has areas that are safer than others, times of day when caution is advisable, and crime statistics that can be interpreted in various ways depending on your political agenda. What's certain is that this exchange between Jenkyns and Khan perfectly encapsulates a broader political moment we're living through, a time when personal experience and official statistics seem to exist in parallel universes, and political figures can build entire careers on the gap between perception and reality. So there you have it. Andrea Jenkyns taking on Sadiq Khan in a battle that's part crime statistics, part political theatre, and entirely entertaining for those of us watching from the sidelines. Whether London is actually unsafe or Khan's statistics tell the real story, one thing's for sure: British politics continues to provide more drama than a soap opera written by someone having a caffeine overdose. Thanks for watching UK Pancakes.